In this video, I'm going to share with you what it takes to run faster. A lot of times I get asked this question by athletes of various distances and from various sports as well. And I just want to share with you the thought process that I go through before giving somebody a workout plan, a running plan, or trying to correct their running technique. So stay tuned as I just share with you how you can discover how to run faster. Question was, how do you increase speed? Someone else asked, are there any other ways for me to build up more speed? And then someone else asked, is there a certain drill that is better than others when speed training? So that question about the drill is better if I show you out on the track. No cookie cutter running exercises that's just going to be great for everybody, because every athlete is different, every person is different. But I will share with you my favorite one to do and my favorite exercise, and that is a foot taps drill. I'll just quickly show you and demonstrate what that looks like. So you're going to do one leg at a time. So it's hopping on opposite foot. So in this case, my left foot, I'm hopping up and down, and I'm quickly pulling my right foot off the ground under my hip, and I can do that moving forward. And I have another video on this that I'll put in the description where I'll describe it in a lot more detail. There's hundreds of other ones, and again, it just depends on the athlete, their goals, the distance they're running, where they are in their training cycle. There's so many factors that goes into what drills to give an athlete to help them increase their speed. The other two questions about building up speed I can answer here on the whiteboard. I will say actually for all three of those questions about improving speed, it depends on the type of runner you are. And let me just define that here before I answer that question specifically about speed. So when we talk about improving someone's speed or endurance or whatever the topic is when we're dealing with any athlete or runner, we have to categorize them. So generally speaking, there's three types of runners. So there's either you're going to be a sprinter, excuse my handwriting, a sprinter, or I like to say sports. So this is somebody that is a sprinter in track and field, or they only run because of their sport. So I kind of combine those two, and I'll explain why in a second. So you're either a sprinter, then we got a mid-distance, I'll just abbreviate that, mid-distance, and then long distance. So the advice that I would give regarding increasing speed is going to be completely different depending on which category you fall into. So let's talk about the sprinter slash sports athlete first. When I say sprinter, most people know what I mean by that. Track and field, you're sprinter, so you are 60 meter, 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter runner. For sports, because every sport that involves running, you're not just like jogging, right? So if I'm a baseball player, when I'm running bases in a game, like I'm not just jogging to the base unless I hit a home run, but generally speaking, like I'm sprinting. Basketball, same thing. Football, definitely, I'm sprinting. So I like to categorize runners who are just running because of their sport, or if they want to increase speed for their sport, I always categorize them as a sprinter because I'm going to give them sprint type training to improve their speed. So let's just be specific what the distance is here, and let's just say anything from 40 yards to 400 meters is going to be my sprinter. For my mid distance, we say, again, a track and field athlete, that's going to be your 800 meter runner, your 1500 meter runner / 1 mile. And then long distance is anything over like 6 miles. So we'll just throw in like your 10 miler, your 10K, your half marathon. Again, I'm just abbreviating here. I know my handwriting is terrible, but you get the idea. So anything over 3 miles is, we're going to throw in the long distance category. So going back to the question though, how do you increase speed? Let's say that a sprinter is asking me this question. And so to answer that from a workout perspective, not getting into running technique and all those things, because that's a completely different discussion on how you increase your speed from a running technique perspective. But generally speaking, for somebody that's involved in a sport that requires a lot of speed, or if you're a sprinter in track and field, you should do workouts that forces you to run fast. And so an example would be something like 5 sets of 60-meter sprints at about a 90 to 95% effort. The rest intervals between those sets will be somewhere between 6 and 8 minutes. Okay, so a longer rest period. A lot of times I will see people trying to improve their speed, and they'll do something like this first part that I wrote down, but they'll probably rest for like 30 seconds or a minute because they think that they need to be tired in order to improve their speed. And that's a completely different energy system that they're working when you play with the rest intervals. Again, that's a completely different topic. You guys, I'm sure, will learn that in other classes. But generally speaking, though, the principle is you want to run fast. And whenever you're doing sets of sprints, you want to take longer breaks in between to give your body that time to recover and to give that energy system that you're working time to recover, so that you're able to produce that maximum force output and that maximum effort with every sprint that you're doing. So that's a way to improve your speed if you are focusing on those shorter distances for your sport, or if you're a sprinter in track and field. So next is your mid-distance runner. So if I have somebody that asks me, how do I improve my speed as a mid-distance runner, I'm going to have them do a pretty similar workout than this. The only difference is I'm going to have them obviously run a longer distance, and then I'm going to shorten their rest period because they're working a different energy system. So they have to utilize more oxygen in order to run this distance because it's longer. So for example, if somebody wanted to improve their 1500 meter run, an example of a workout would be to do like 6, let's say 800 meter repeats at about 70% effort. And that 70% is going to be based on their time. So you'll take their fastest time, their PR, and then you multiply that by 70%, you come up with a number, and then you use that to program their workouts. So that's where the 70% come from. So 70% effort, instead of a 8-minute rest period, I'm gonna shorten it to maybe 5 minutes or maybe 3 minutes, depending on where they are in their training cycle. So I'll just write down that range. We'll just say 3 to 5 minute rest. I'm doing 800 meter repeats. That is a way to improve my speed if I am a mid-distance runner. If I am a long distance runner, I am not going to give them 60 meter repeat. I might, depending on their training cycle, give them some 800s, but I'm never going to go below that because they need endurance as well as the speed. So it gets a little bit more complicated and complex, if you will, when I'm dealing with a distance runner that wants to improve their speed. So for this particular individual, a exercise you might give them is we might do 1 mile repeats, or we might do 1.5 mile repeats, maybe 2,000 meter repeats or something of that nature. And instead of taking a rest period for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, we're going to jog during our rest. So I might have them do like a fartlek type workout where they're running around the track, or they have a trail, they have a distance that we mapped out. And so you will do a particular run for a certain distance. Maybe it's a mile, you're doing at 70% effort. And then we're going to do a slower run for 800 meters. Maybe we'll back it down to about 60% and we run 800 meters, and then we'll repeat that over and over. I'm just making this up as I'm talking, so I'm just throwing out examples. But those are ways and the differences that you can improve your speed based on the type of runner you are. Of course, the stronger you are, the more you strength train, the more muscle tone you have, that just improves your overall running economy and your body's ability to utilize oxygen more efficiently and effectively. So of course, we're going to be in a weight room. We're going to do strength training. We're going to do body weight exercises. We're going to do all those things outside of the track and outside of the running that we're doing. But generally speaking, in order to improve your speed, these are the types of things that we will do. Now, if you're asking about improving your speed from a running technique perspective, that's a completely different topic. I don't have time to go into that, but I do have a lot of videos. I have a few on my YouTube channel that you can watch. I have a ton of them on our Instagram channel, on our Instagram page that you can watch as well. If none of those videos answer the question, feel free to send me an email and we can set up a time to chat or do a Zoom call, or maybe I'll do another video for you specifically. It's a great question, great topic. It just takes a lot to answer, and we have to know a little bit more about your specific goals to answer that question. If you want to learn more about how to run faster, run longer, and run without pain, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thank you for watching.